everyone, it's Gail Moffat and I'm here doing the Sunday show again. Welcome to the Sunday show that will be on YouTube every week on a Sunday. Now, I want to pose this question. If you had an opportunity to talk to, say, Mother Mary or talk to Jesus, would you like that? Would you have some questions for them? Because that's exactly what's happened to me. Over the last year, these people from the Bible have come forward and stepped forward, and they've asked me to give their voices to you. And I know that there will come a time where you will be able to actively engage with their voices and with their personalities. And they certainly have got a personality. They're lovely. You will love them. Anyway, I am being made aware of a gentleman that's stepping forward. And I feel that this is St. John the Baptist, and he's coming forward and he wants to do some talking. But he says, hold on a moment, I have some friends with me. And he wants to bring his friends as well. So I know that there is going to be some other people with him. And I can just see, behind him, there's sort of like 3 people on that side and 3 people on that side. And I feel that they are all the apostles from when Jesus was alive. And of course, I have Jesus with me. And I know that and I also am being made aware of Saint Sebastian, who's my healing guide. So we've got quite a busy room here with everyone, and they're all here. So I'm going to ask who would like to step forward and do the talking. And I'm just being told that Jesus would like to step forward and do the talking, and he's going to be the first person to say his piece. And he's saying to me that when he was alive, he knew that he had a job to do. He knew that he had a mission. And he had been taught to the 11th degree, to the 10th degree, or whatever the expression is, I can't remember. But he'd been taught well by Mother Mary. He'd been given all the instruction on how to be spiritually, how to do things. And he knew how to do these miracles. But one of the biggest miracles that he knew about was healing. He was able to place the hands on many people. And with that placement of hands, the energy of God and the spirit world would flow through him like a channel of light, like a beam of light, and bring the healing to the person. And he said that he's saying to me that he was able to do this from a really young age, around about 5 or 6. And obviously when you look at the Bible, that there's not much talk about his childhood or what he got up to. But he's telling me from a very young age, he understood the healing energies. He understood how to bring healing to another person. And he's saying to me, he had such a close relationship with God, such a close relationship. Like there was a dialogue, they spoke to each other on a daily basis, always communicating, that he knew how to do so much, because not only was his mother his teacher, but God was too. God became his teacher as well. So that's quite incredible, isn't it? Quite incredible that he's got those 2 amazing teachers for him. And he says, of course, God was with him. God was part of him. God was all around him. And that's why he was able to also communicate with God as well. And he found that in his life, as he went through his life, and he's showing me becoming a teenager, and he would actively sort of do things, healing and sort of certain miracles. but he kept it confined to sort of, you know, his loved ones, his family, the people around him. He didn't go out into the world to do these things. He wasn't, because he didn't feel that he was ready. He said that he'd always been told that by God and also by Mother Mary, that if you can't do anything perfectly, don't do it. Like, he had to wait till he was really at that level, really proficient at what he could do and to help people in the world. And that was his purpose. That was God's purpose. He wanted to help as many people. But he also had another purpose that was really strong. And that purpose was to bring people towards the light, to help people understand that light is about everything. Light and love is the key to humanity surviving and being happy and being gifted and being closer to God. And he said that was the key. That was the key to everything. So there he is in his teenage years, not feeling as though he was proficient enough. And there were times where he wondered, you know, oh, maybe I could, but then he would think, oh, I don't do it well enough, or would be a little bit upset about his performance, I suppose. And Mother Mary, he's saying to me, was always gentle with him, was always sort of kind and caring, and was always supportive to him of how to move forward and how to be more connected to spirit. She was just an amazing, he's saying that she was just an amazing mum to him. So it wasn't until he reached into his 30s that he's telling me that he really felt as though he became into his own. He felt that he knew how to achieve all. He'd been well prepared. He'd learnt everything from Mother Mary, and he just knew that he was ready. And he knew that he was going to be completely able to do the work that he had come to this earth plane to do, because he knew this was his mission, to bring people to the spiritual path, to bring people to the light, to bring people to God, and to help people to understand that everything was about love. And Mother Mary is saying to me, because she's just stepped forward now, and she's just saying to me, you know, she's saying, you know, Gail, it was my whole life, you know, teaching my children and teaching all those that around me that wanted to listen. I taught them everything that they knew or know, and I spent hours, you know, teaching them. And she felt that it was, she too felt that that was her mission. She had to bring Jesus to that level, and she had to help him understand the importance of his life. Because she was very connected. She says, I was very connected to the spirit world. And in particular, it was like she was on a, you know, very good friend basis with Archangel Gabriel, because Archangel Gabriel was around her all the time throughout her life. And it was, she's saying that Archangel Gabriel would give me advice on how to, you know, to teach Jesus and how to be with him, and the importance of her work with him. And so she's saying to me that she always tried to do everything that was told to her from the spirit world, because she knew the importance of her role. She knew the importance of Jesus's role, and she knew that if she didn't nurture him and bring him to this level, then none of this would have been possible. But she's also saying to me that she would like to help people today with, you know, she hasn't finished that role, she says. She wants to help people understand that their role and the importance of operating in the light and using love. And she's saying to me, if anyone wishes to know about how to do things, call upon her and she will be your teacher. It's like she in that life, she was a teacher, she was a nurturer, and she was a carer. Now, St. John the Baptist, he's stepping forward and he's saying, I was part of the family. I was part of the family and I saw everything that was going on. And Jesus was my dear, dear friend. Mother Mary was my dear, dear friend. And we all got on really well. And he's saying to me that when he's showing me in a river, in water, and he's showing me when he used to start, do the baptism, and he's showing me the importance of the baptism. And he's saying to me, God gave him this word: go forward and preach to people the importance of moving towards God and taking God's blessing through the baptism of life. And these are the words that was given to him. And these are the words that he took to his heart. And with those words, he went forward in a way that was enabling the baptism of all those people that took place, including Jesus. But I'm also getting one of the apostles now stepping forward, and that's St. John. And he's saying to me that he knew from the word go that that Jesus was special. He knew that he wanted to be part of Jesus's life, and he knew that he wanted to follow the principles of Jesus, because he knew that there was no other way. But he could see the brilliance of life around him and the brilliance of God around him. And he knew absolutely that this was his path and this is what he wanted to do. And so he would sit with Jesus and he would say to him, my dear Lord, what can I do to help you? What can I do to give you the better life and help you understand and give to others? What can I do to help you? And Jesus would say, just follow my words. Just follow my advice that I give to many. And with that, you will set an example to all. And so that's how Jesus wanted to be. He wanted to be the example to everyone. And he wanted the apostles to then follow in his footsteps and then also be the example. And this is what John did willingly. Willingly, he wanted to follow that example and be there for Jesus at all times. And he knew that right from the beginning. There was no question in his mind, he says, that he was going to follow Jesus. No question at all. Because he saw and witnessed things that nobody could ever would have witnessed or believed in. He saw Jesus as a miracle to this earth. And he embraced all of his teaching and everything that he said and did. But I'm also now being made aware of Paul, one of the apostles, and he's stepping forward and he's saying to me, I also had my head turned and I was led towards Jesus, and I was given that understanding that love was everything. I knew at the moment I met him that there was something that stirred within me, that made me feel as though I should be following him. But it took me some time to really believe in him, because I wanted to go against my feelings. But woe betide anyone who goes against their feelings. And Paul is saying to me that if he'd have trusted his instincts right from the word go, he feels that he could have done more service to Jesus. But the service he did do, and he eventually came to Jesus and followed him and did everything he possibly could. He's saying to me that Jesus forgave him as well. forgave him for his sins, because he says that he had committed many sins before he turned and followed Jesus and followed his teaching. And he when he reflects back on that, he feels guilty that he had done and said things that wronged Jesus. But now he knows that the path is full of light, and he took that path, and he took his heart, and he operated from the heart, and he walked along the path of light, and he gave to as many people the preachings of Jesus that he came across. Everywhere he went, he would talk about what he had heard, what he had experienced, and what Jesus had given to him. He was devoted and dedicated to the very, very end of his life. He's saying that he is absolutely glad that he did it that way, because he says that if he'd have done it any other way, he wouldn't have fulfilled the life to his sole purpose. And this is he says this was his purpose, to take the words of Jesus and take the words of God and spread them around the world. And that's exactly what he did. I cannot impress on you how much travelling this man did. He travelled and he travelled and he travelled, and everybody he came into contact with, he gave the blessing of God, and he gave them the words of Jesus. And you know, what strikes me is the dedication of the apostles, how dedicated they all were and are to Jesus, and they still are, and the love that they have for him and for Mother Mary. And that's that sort of dedication that I can really, really feel that shines through from all of them in their talks. And Paul is just coming back in, and he's just saying, it was easy. It was easy to be dedicated, because if you'd have been in that world and been there with him, you'd have understood why it was so easy to be dedicated, why we had to live this life, and why we had to be with him, because it was as though there was no other way. This was the way to follow the path of God. And so I think there I end today's talk, and happy Sunday to everyone. See you next week. Goodbye.